EI were having their EI payments garnished to pay debt back to the government while they're trying to keep their home. It's the wrong approach. We didn't hear anything new in the speech yesterday. I'm hoping soon we're going to hear that the government will bring into force a low-income CERB repayment amnesty and a freeze on payments for middle-class Canadians who are struggling to keep their homes in this time of inflation. When are we going to hear that?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire pour le ministre associé des Finances.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente, and I'd like to thank the finance critic for the NDP for his question and for his work on the Finance Committee. I would point out, that, of course, that yesterday's plan that was announced by our Minister of Finance included many supports that Canadians will feel for the first time this year. Madam Speaker, for a couple in Ontario with an income of $45,000 and a child in daycare, our plan could mean an additional $7,350 this year above existing benefits. This is real money going back into the pockets of real Canadians.
Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Canadians are struggling and looking for relief, but instead they're getting skyrocketing costs, unaffordable groceries, and toonie a litre gas. Because of the Liberals' reckless spending and double dipping with taxes on top of taxes, Canadians are barely making it to the end of the month. And just like George Costanza, these Liberals will keep dipping as they see fit. It's disgusting. When will the Liberals stop double dipping in Canadians' pockets and give us some relief?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives are making jokes about a very serious situation. Maybe the honourable member saw what happened this week with cryptocurrency. That's the type of economic policy that's coming from the Conservative Party these days, Madam Speaker. Do the Conservatives not agree that a 50% reduction in childcare this year is real savings for Canadian families? Do they not believe that $2,400 in the pockets of a family of 3 through the Canada Workers Benefit is real money in the pockets of Canadian workers? They should know that. They voted against all of these measures.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatting going back and forth here, and I would just ask those members that they're not being recognized for questions or for replying, so I would ask them to hold on to their thoughts. The honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
The parliamentary secretary talks about jokes. What's a joke was yesterday the minister stood in this house when I talked about rising costs and talked about history with things that happened 10 years ago when it was her government, when it was that minister's department who approved $93,000 in champagne and caviar for government officials while Canadians can't afford to heat their homes or to feed their families. It's a failed approach that they've doubled down on time and time again. So really, if anyone's laughing, we can't hear them because the joke is on that side of the house. It might come as a surprise to them, but just like budgets, gas prices, grocery bills, they won't balance themselves. Will the Liberals cut taxes for Canadians?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, we did cut taxes for Canadians, and the Conservatives voted against it. Thank goodness that there was other support in this House to ensure that Canadians would see a reduction in their taxes, Madam Speaker. And when it comes to supporting Canadians, we will continue to put in place the measures that put money directly back into the pockets of Canadians. I'm thinking of a one-time payment for all Canadians having trouble finding low-income housing. That's coming into effect this year, Madam Speaker. We also have a reduction in childcare costs of up to 50% this year. Real money back into the pockets of real Canadians.
The honourable member for Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola.
ABS. That's right, Madam Speaker. ABS. When buying a vehicle, ABS stands for Automatic Braking System. When your vehicle senses an impending danger, it brakes immediately. But Canadians have no such braking system when it comes to our finances. In fact, we have the opposite. This finance minister has a different take on ABS. Always be spending, always be spending. Will she order an immediate pause to all discretionary spending to fight inflation, or does their blood pact with the NDP forbid any of that?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, the Conservatives are changing their tone by day. Yesterday, the member was accusing us of not spending more money in order to support Canadians, and today he's saying that we're spending too much. Well, which is it, Madam Speaker? What we have done is ensure that over the course of the last several months and years, our budgetary planning would ensure that we would be there for Canadians.
Order. I'm sure that the Honourable members, the opposition party, would want to hear, and there's going back and forth on both sides. I'm sure that everyone would like to hear what the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary is saying, because I'm sure that they may have a follow-up question. So the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary can restart.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And as I was saying, they're changing their story by day. Yesterday, the honourable member was accusing our government of not adding new spending into the economy in order to support Canadians, and today he's saying we're spending too much. In fact, Moody's, S&P, all of the credit agencies have reconfirmed our AAA credit rating. The spending that the minister put forward yesterday was included in our fiscal framework. We are there for Canadians while ensuring we don't add fuel to the fire and continue the inflationary spiral. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Central Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola.
That member's just plain wrong, and I see where she gets it from. The Minister of Finance has gotten inflation wrong at every turn. Right. She said deflation was the concern. Wrong. Then it was transitory. Wrong. Now she has a so-called affordability plan, which only includes, you guessed it, Madam Speaker, more spending. Stephen Gordon is an economist at Laval and has said now is not the time for increased spending, as it only pours fuel on the inflationary fire. Instead, she could reduce discretionary spending, stop the Morneau escalator on user fees, give Canadians a break at the pumps. Will she listen to Conservatives and start fighting inflation?